Welcome, welcome, patrons! I'm going to be absolutely upfront about this. One of you requested more videos about dwarves, but I can't find the comment. I'm so sorry. I've been looking everywhere and I don't know where it is, so I deeply apologize for not being able to give you credit or a shout out or anything. So, with all that out of the way, a major part of Dwarven society is its caste system. These hereditary social classes dictate your place in life as well as your job. So, granted, this only applies to dwarves living underground, as surface dwarves have lost their caste. Let's talk about the Dwarven caste system. History of the caste. Shaper Zabor says that the Dwarven caste system was founded by 7 Dwarven brothers, and the children of these dwarves created the caste we know today. I'll let him tell the tale for some obvious reasons.
According to our legends, 7 brothers founded our empire. The youngest, Bloodlik, was the wisest and was chosen king. His children formed the noble caste. The eldest, Giatchet, trained his sons to defend their king. They became the warrior caste. Shotgyar founded the Artisans. Orzammar forged our first swords. It was Orzammar who dug the mines that became our city's foundations. The twins Koapar and Noct both founded trading houses, but Noct was wounded in battle. On his recovery, he swore to serve his brother's sons.
The castes. Noble. Obviously the highest caste, consisting of the royal family, members of the assembly, and much of the more rich and powerful members of Dwarven society. Much of the Shapered is also made up from this caste, but other castes are allowed to join if they show promise. Most of the Dwarven noble caste is made up from family of paragons, although smith and warrior caste members can sometimes upgrade to this caste for great deeds they have done. One of the major jobs for the noble caste is to sponsor people from other castes. This works to the benefit of both parties, as the person who is sponsored gets money, and the noble, if they chose correctly, gets to slap their name on a good product or event. Warrior. Each house of the warrior caste is sworn to protect someone in the noble caste. And although this applies to all castes, there is a hierarchy within the warrior caste as well. Those who are protecting the royal house are considered the most elite of this caste, but this can easily change if the royal house changes. Along with protecting nobles, this house also protects Orzammar and acts as its military and protectors. Women of the warrior caste are able to fight, but their biggest duty is to birth more children for the warrior caste. As Dwarven birth rates have become very low, possibly due to the darkspawn taint in the deep roads, this is no easy task. Those of the warrior caste who are perhaps more pacifist and who do not wish to fight often become medics. Those of the Silent Sisters are all from the warrior caste as well, and their order gives honor to the first female paragon of the warrior caste. This paragon, Aesith the Grey, is also the reason why the women of the warrior caste can fight. Smith. As the name suggests, Smith caste creates weapons, armors, runes, and more for the people of Orzammar. Those of the Dwarven Smith caste often compete with one another to gain recognition, which perhaps explains why Dwarven technology is much more advanced than the rest of Thedas. Smiths are also able to sell their wares directly and do not need to go through the merchant caste. Artisan. Similar to the Smith class, but not as respected, artisans create what the Smiths do not, and often are tasked to decorate the Smith's work. Artisan and Smiths work together so often that many actually bunch the two together. The artisan's main job is to create things that the Smiths do not, so like clothes, paintings, wigs, and other things like that. Miner. Perhaps most known for the task to mine lyrium and other ores, their work is at the heart of Dwarven society, as Orzammar's main source of gold is the lyrium trade. It's said that the miner caste has the most gender equality in its caste, and there are many women-worked mines that produce a lot of lyrium and ore. Those of the miner caste are said to have the unique ability to hear lyrium, and some even claim that they can hear the stone itself sing. Merchant. The merchant caste has an interesting history, as it used to be higher up in the Dwarven food chain, so to speak. After much of the Dwarven taigs were destroyed by the Darkspawn, most of the well-respected merchants, who were also serving as ambassadors to the surface, moved topside to find their wealth, leaving only minor merchant houses in the Dwarven homeland. This mass movement is also why a majority of surface dwarves have ties with the merchant caste. Today, as space is hard to come by in Dwarven cities, only important merchants have permanent shops, while others have to rent stalls to sell their goods. Servant. Said to make up a majority of the people in Orzammar, the servant caste work to serve as others of the upper castes. It's said that those of the servant caste take great pride in their work, because at least they aren't criminals like those casteless over there. And speaking of which, the casteless. Believed to be descendants of thugs and thieves, the casteless of Orzammar have no rights in the city and are not even considered people to those of the caste. Those born to this caste, sometimes also referred to as brands, are soon branded with a tattoo to make sure everyone knows their place in society. A majority of the Carta, the major criminal organization in Orzammar, is made up of casteless dwarves, and is one of the few ways they can actually earn money. Rules of the caste. For the most part, if you have left Dwarven lands to live on the surface, you have lost your caste, as it is believed that you have turned your back on the stone. But there are exceptions. Any dwarf who joins the Grey Wardens is able to keep their caste, as clearing the world of Darkspawn is seen as an honor to the stone. Tevinter has had a long-standing alliance with the dwarves, and before Kal Sharok was found, Dwarven embassies in major Tevinter cities was the only other major center of Dwarven population besides Orzammar. Dwarves of Tevinter are considered foreign dignitaries rather than citizens, and as their homes and embassies are underground, they are considered to still have their caste. Other ways to lose your caste basically include bringing dishonor to your house. Get bad enough, your family kicks you to the curb. Do a bad enough crime, and you're casteless as well. There are a few ways to switch to higher castes. As mentioned above, if you or one of your houses made a paragon, you have become part of the highest noble caste. The only other way is to become what they call a noble hunter, men and women who aim to bear a child of the opposite gender to live in a higher caste. Children gain their same-sex parents' caste, so if a casteless woman has a female child, that child will be casteless. If that same woman has a son of a noble, he will become a noble. Now, this obviously does not change the caste of the mother, but often the new family will live in the house with the person with the higher caste. Although this isn't always the case, as seen as Zerlinda in Dragon Age Origins, whose family has cast her out of their home because of her casteless son, and even if your warden reunites her with her family, her son will still be casteless. This is also why Barat taught the dwarf commoner's sister Rika all of the skills she knew. The plan was for him to pretend to be an uncle of Rika's, and after she gave birth to a noble son, he would be propelled from the merchant caste into living into the noble caste. And that, dear patrons, is all that we know on Dwarven Caste. Thank you so much to that wonderful, mysterious person who suggested more videos on dwarves, and I promise this won't be the last one. Do you still have lingering questions, proof that I'm wrong, comments about your own fan theory? Feel free to tweet me at @Gilderthon on Twitter or send a PM to user Gilanon on Reddit. Dar es Shiral.